Hi, I'm live. So, welcome to Coffee with the Dead. It's been a while since I've said that. I have a slightly new setup, so if it sounds a little funny, I just have to get used to monitoring my own voice, which actually I don't think I should do, because it really throws me off, and it's really loud. So, anyway, as you can see, I have my own office. We're no longer doing stuff on site, and I'm kind of blonde. Yeah, that's a thing. So as I figure out how not to monitor my audio, I know, it's probably a really bad idea not to, but it's happening because, oh my God. So, for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with the show, there we go. Let's see. I'm sorry I'm getting so distracted. You know, I spent like an hour setting all this up just so that I could, then start broadcasting and waste a bunch of time talking about how I still have things to set up. Going rough on the first episode. So, anyway, for those of you who maybe don't know about the show, I am Perry Ann, founder and host of this show, and also of the investigation group Spirits Wake Paranormal. We go around and do strictly paranormal on that end, but in Coffee with the Dead, it's an online group also besides the show. We like to discuss everything unexplained and spooky and strange. So the podcast started in 2013, and if you see me looking around a little, it's just, I'm getting used to the YouTube studio, and not to mention there is a chat somewhere that I'm able to monitor, and I am slowly figuring everything out. So as much as I could look around ahead of time, there's still some things that you can only really have access to live. And I guess that's just the YouTube way. At any rate, we started the podcast in 2013 on Blog Talk Radio. Some episodes are still there, and after this episode, I will certainly figure out how to do the show notes and get you access to those links. But while you're waiting for all that, just remember there is the Facebook. It's Coffee with the Dead. Or if you want to talk directly to me, you can go to facebook.com/𝕬𝕐𝕠𝕠𝕜, because believe it or not, there is somebody else out there with the name Perry Ann. And there is just a little lag, so I'm sorry if you see me making some weird faces sometimes. Bound to happen. In 2014, the podcast really took off, and I started doing a lot of interviews. There's a ton of stuff that Blog Talk Radio had archived from that year mostly, and most importantly. But they switched to a new server, and it's not there anymore. So I have access to all of 6 episodes from 2016 up until 2018. So they're there. You can check them out. Again, I'll post links. Go to the Facebooks, and you can get caught up there. Also, subscribe if you would rather listen than see my mug. You can do the podcast subscription option through all the popular platforms we got on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, and a dozen other ones. This great platform that I'm using now called Buzzsprout. I'm not sponsored, but name dropping anyway. They do all that for you. They do all the cross posting, cross posting, right? I suppose. And so anyway, the podcast kind of like died off after a while. It it just did organically. And then I decided to do the hey, let's be a YouTube star crap, right? So that's where you see the one episode from Red Vein Army. Sorry, temporary mind fart there. Oh, you guys can tell it's been a while since I've been on the air, can't you? All right. So Red Vein Army was our first episode that we did down in Ashland, Virginia, and I see some people popping into the chat now. Awesome. Hi guys. See Lady Liz, Sergeant Poodle Pants, and ℚ𝕗𝕠𝕠𝕜. Hey. So they were the first one. They're a little, well, they're not really that little anymore now. They're actually a rather popular Ashland haunted attraction now. They have their own Halloween show that they do every year. Fingers crossed, hopefully this year too still, despite the current state of things. And they also just opened an escape room last year, which is amazing. They keep changing up the theme. And we got a little sneak peek in there in a future episode of that. There are actually 2 filmed episodes that are kind of in the bag, pending final touches and whatnot. So here we are now. In 2020, in the middle of a pandemic and protests and riots and just overall uncertainty. Crazy times. So what am I gonna do? I can't go out on site. I can't really film, in the way that I'm used to filming. And I'm really not interested in interviewing strangers face to face, or even friends. I'd really rather sit in the comfort of my own little purple office here and just talk to YouTube or Spotify or wherever you are listening. I'd rather just talk to you guys. So along with that, as I continue to ramble on here, I'm going to do a solid hour. It's the original format of the show. The original schedule was to run for an hour every week. So with this being the test episode, I'm going to stick to that. And I welcome all your feedback because I know there's all kinds of red marks and little notes, I'm sure, on how this first episode goes. You can give me a call. I set up a fancy pants little phone number, which I am trying to find. Okay, so you can give me a call, and I will see how easily or not I'm able to pipe that in to the broadcast, or, we'll see. So it's 443-267-8217. And if you don't want to call right now, maybe just write it down, keep it on hand in case anything comes up that I talk about later and you want to give me some input on. Do not call me and give criticism or critiques rather over the air. Let's just hit me up on the book face for that, or email me. Again, that number is 443-267-8217. If you want to email me, it's a little hard to monitor live, so I'll get back to you later after the show. Is paraann at CWTD.co, and paraann is PARAANNE. Same name on Facebook, but remember, add the in front of my name. You can also message me on Coffee with the Dead's page. But at any rate, the world these days, absolutely nuts, right? So I have a friend in Pennsylvania who is studying all of the weird crap associated with this, and I think I'll bring him on a little later once I get more of a flow for how this YouTube situation is going to work out. I'm thinking Sundays at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Give me some feedback on that, if that's a time that you'd listen live, or if you'd rather just download it, or I guess just stream it after the fact, not live, through a podcast service, like Stitcher or Pandora or whatever. Just so I know, just because this is the way that I'm choosing to go right now, if it's not the most easily for my followers to access, then why bother? So this friend of mine, he actually came to me with a story of his own, and just some strange coincidences, and kind of wondering if it was something that I'd like to put on the air as an episode, filming on location and showing spots where these things had happened to him, so on and so forth. And I was gonna go for it right until I decided not to do the YouTube anymore. The filming on location YouTube. So now I just call this the podcast instead of calling it the YouTube, even though it is on YouTube. So I'll have to get my terminology figured out, but forgive me in advance because it's a test. Yeah, that's exactly, so Lady Liz in the chat room, she just said, there's definitely spiritual, spirit universe, whatever you want to call, ties going on with what's going on. That's exactly where I was headed. That was my next point. And just sidebar for those of you in the chat, is my audio coming across clearly since I turned off monitoring? I can't talk when I can hear myself at the same time. So, for those of you in chat, just let me know. All right, thank you very much. Sergeant Poodlepants says, audio clear. Excellent. But that's where I was headed. Yeah, like Lady Liz said, there's definitely something spiritual about all of this horribleness, all this darkness that's going on right now. And it's, it's kind of morbidly fascinating to put kind of a positive spin on something so horrible, I guess. I'm not a political person. I really don't follow the news. I might check in, like, when my mom calls and tells me, like, hey, did you hear? And, of course, I say, no, I don't have cable. I didn't hear. How about you fill me in? And she does. So I get some of my news from her, and if something really major is going on, like, every day this year so far, then I go and kind of maybe listen to the news for as long as I can stomach it, until it starts to repeat itself. So that's as far as I'm going to go into the politics thing, and that's my justification for it. So Dwayne is the friend of mine that I'm speaking of, who I think I am going to ask to come on the show. We've had some good discussions, and this goes right along with what Lady Liz was saying about there's just something going on in the universe right now, kind of tied into all of this. So he has a theory, and he's writing his own theories on other topics related to current events right now too, and he's making a lot of really interesting lines and connections, and it's a lot to read. It's heavy, so I think in conversation it'll come out in a way that it will really interest you guys and kind of get you to think a little. So I wanted to bring him on, and I don't know, we'll see. Whenever that happens, but soon, maybe, possibly. But to go back to, again, kind of the whole point of what
what I was getting at is that in like 2013, it felt like there was a big talk in the paranormal community. I remember I was still doing the Spirits Wake page, which, like I said, is the investigation, strictly just paranormal investigations. We don't have like open public discussions. We're just the investigation crew. And there got to be talk amongst us in there about like a void. It felt like heaven and hell were at a war, at a war, at battling, having and it just caused the middle ground, Earth, to just go quiet. And Lady Alyss was there. She's one of my old school followers, and she's an admin in the Coffee with the Dead Facebook group as well. So if you ever see her name around, just remember she's one of the OGs. But we got to talking, and it was like there were just no investigations to be done. Psychic abilities seemed to be broken. It was just it was just bleak. And nobody knew what to make of it. And that's how it went. Until maybe 2014 or so, and things started to rumble again. And it felt really good. It felt like, oh, heaven won, because everything was positive. There were no cases of like poltergeists or like negativity. People that I was close with were a lot happier all of a sudden. It was like just like the energy of the world, just brightened. But then it started to kind of go away again. It didn't last long. Like, heaven got its victory and then just couldn't keep up with the masses, with the majority, which, unfortunately, the majority is a lot of dark, angry crap, right? And we get those feel-good stories on the news as just almost as like comedic relief, except it's more like happy relief. Just to break it up. It might be a small story of charity or whatever, and it's like 5 minutes of the whole newscast between a terrible story, but just enough to let you know, oh, there's still some good. Okay. But this war between heaven and hell and everything, it is now like now it almost feels like we're all just in some kind of weird in between, like, third layer of hell limbo area. It's not. I mean, you can find your own good, but really it's crap. Everything's really it's like they're gearing up in the spiritual world for another war, and and I mean that strictly talking about like in like the energy fields, okay, and like in a completely like metaphysical way. Because granted, you look around and it's very obvious there's a war going on, right? You see the riots, you see the protests, this corona, this COVID. But what I'm talking about is more like the unseen world, okay? As far as like energy and empaths and those folks, it's like everything that we feed on right now is kind of like gearing up, okay? Like, it's not as bad as it was in 2012, 2013. It didn't just, it wasn't just a light switch that got hit off. this is like a gradual buildup, and I'm very intuitive. I guess you kind of have to be if you're gonna go chase after dead things and and dissect disembodied voices and stuff, right? So with that, and I'm a bit of an empath. Like I said, the EVPs and stuff, they usually find me. I don't really go looking for them. They kind of just show up. But for someone like me, like, I can feel the energy shift, right? And I feed off of that kind of mood of the universe. So you can go ahead and guess what I've been doing lately. I've been sleeping and feeling really angry and just stuck, because we are right now. We are. The whole world is, and it just seems like as soon as things smooth out and we're like, okay, this is the new normal, another tragedy happens, and then it doesn't get resolved, right? Like, things used to get resolved. I remember this. I'm not crazy, right? Like, things used to get resolved, right? They don't anymore. We now just shift to another new normal. And that's more like earthly related matters, but it's unfortunate and the state of things, right? So we have to adjust and learn how to deal with that. But going back to metaphysical, spiritual kind of matters, we as in like the community of us. I mean, it was okay. So it was lights out in 2012, 2013. Lights bright 100% in 2014. And then just kind of progressively, like, someone was slowly turning down the dimmer switch up until late 2019, when COVID-19 first came about. We've been kind of still just futzing with that, right? And it's like a arm wrestling match right now between good and evil, I guess, if you believe in evil, but the light and the dark, as far as who's gonna win. Is that dimmer switch gonna finally take the one last click to the left and be shut off? Or are we gonna overcome and turn it so far up that the switch just falls off the wall and can never be tampered with again? Right? Like, that's the vibe that's going on, and for myself at least, spiritually. And I've had these conversations with other folks in the community, and it seems to be the general vibe going on. But there's an interesting kind of way to look at that from more of a, oh, well, how can you prove it? It's just feelings. Yeah. So science has talked about a variety of things, and yeah, okay, so yes, Crail, yep, I have my rats behind me. Let me see. So Patrick and Kara have joined us. Hello. And yeah, Lady Liz is agreeing with me in chat right now. And like I said, we don't know where we are right now, but we're somewhere. And we don't know if we like it, or if we're going to get used to it, or if we're going to keep fighting. Spiritually, are we going to adjust our traditions and everything that we've known to work for something that, maybe just feels better? But there are frequencies, just give you a little preview into what Dwayne's going to talk about when I have him on. Just these frequencies in up there. I don't want to really give it away, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. There's frequencies up in the atmosphere, like a known, like, tangible layer of frequency. It's like almost like its own layer of atmosphere. And it was noted in 2013, 2012-ish that there was a major spike in the frequency, in the range. It had hit like a 9.7 or something, and that was the highest it had ever gone. It was super rare. But are you getting some reverb now? Maybe I'm talking too loudly. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, test episodes can always be very finicky. I turned it down a little, so let me know if that helps. I may have been rocking in my chair too much. Maybe I should learn how to sit still. So is it ℍ𝕬𝕤? Well, anyway, we'll get into the actual names and details and whatever on that next episode. But when the spike was recorded, coincides with the spiritual, blackout, quote unquote, as it's been known as now. So from that, we kind of think, well, what's it doing now? Are the frequencies spiking again? Did they level out? Okay, so it's the equipment that's making the reverb. I might have to actually get technical and go into a settings menu or some such computery nonsense. Don't exactly. Okay, well, we'll save all that fiddling for next time. Sorry, guys. You just bear with my reverb. Excellent. You can still understand what I am saying. Fantastic. But it's cool, huh? So I should just not go fiddling and maybe add some, what if I add some distortion to my voice? Or maybe some echo? Just keep changing it up every episode? Just never sound like an actual human? I could do that. So these frequencies that I've been talking about, they spiked and they stayed there. But while they stayed there, those of us in the community, again, like I said, especially more so the empaths and those with really strong psychic abilities, like remote viewing or telepathy or anything like that. They just notice. They can feel it. They can feel it a lot more than those of us in the community who are just hobbyists, So they're feeding the forums with their experiences every day and saying how they are shaking, literally inside their body is shaking, they can feel their actual aura vibrating, they're sitting on a train track and it's just the train is coming and they don't see a train but they are shaking, it's coming, they can feel it and they're just waiting, and it's just this feeling of impending doom. Meanwhile, though, us earthly dwellers we're yeah, whatever, just knock that off, okay? We haven't had any poltergeist activity, we haven't had any shadow people, we haven't been dealing with foul smells, any of this negative stuff that we're used to dealing with. It's been all good. It's been all on the up and up. A lot of just deceased family members coming back for a chat and, normal crap.
even the apparitions are a little low. They just, didn't have the energy to manifest anymore. But, meanwhile, those who are more sensitive are like, oh my God, like, no, pay attention. And we don't. We don't pay attention. We're just like, shut up, things are good. And they're going to stay that way now. Like, the good guys won, right? So we're rolling with it. And then 22 years later, right? 2016, 2018, keep moving on with the years, right? Everybody starts saying, oh, well, now I got someone saying they're possessed, or, the usual dark entity starts showing up again, and we're back to what was normal, right? So we went from a paranormal way of this has never changed, there's good and bad, some are stronger, some energies are stronger than others, so on and so forth. That was what we knew, that's what we were taught, that was tradition, that's how it went, you didn't question it, it was how it was almost like fact. And then we went to our new norm of dead zone, right? And then we started gradually gearing up towards yet another new norm of, oh, things are really heavy and dark, and I don't understand why I'm hearing so many people say that they're possessed, or why people are claiming so much poltergeist activity, or why are there shadow people all of a sudden? Since when did that? Why is shadow people now #trending? So we just dealt with it, and in the paranormal world, we decided, all right, cleansings. We offer cleansings now. We will cleanse you. And that was the popular thing to offer. So it went like that for a while, and even exorcisms. I started hearing about them, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. You're not a priest. You didn't go through the whole like process of being denied, and then everything, like the process. There is a process. No, we are done with processes. We are in a time where things just are, and we gotta just do it ourselves. We can't wait. We can't ask for approval. The system's gonna screw us, and things are bad again, right? So that was, 2015 up through like 2018, right? And 2019, the COVID, poof, oh, well, we have totally lost grips on reality now. But no, because this was reality. Like, this really, really happened. And we don't know how. We don't know why. Anybody who starts to make sense of it in a public forum suddenly just disappears. All right, so we don't talk about it. We just follow the rules. We wear the face masks. We practice social distancing. And then that's it. That's our life, right? And in terms of the spiritual community, what did we do? We're in our homes now. We got a lot less to stimulate us, like we really like feed off of the vibe of society, and like going out and like, going to those historic places and touching the things and talking to the people, and we're not doing investigations anymore. So it's easy to think that like a lot of this negative interpretation of those frequencies now, maybe some of us are saying, oh, they must have spiked again, else we wouldn't be almost at another world war or civil war, or all these things that I know we have all heard and either laughed at or maybe questioned as actually in the works.
But maybe it's also just a fact of being stuck in the house and we're just not as practiced as we're used to being. But I don't buy that. I mean, it could be, but I don't buy that. And I think that we are just kind of being victimized, to put it in other terms, by these frequencies. And yeah, 𝕬𝕬𝕜 says that he's been studying frequency fluctuations for years. Yeah, exactly. And so I think now things are like at their all-time high, right? So I've been thinking about it, and with what I personally experienced in like 2012, 2013 timeline spiritually, and then looking at the state of the world now, I can't help but feel like those frequencies may have gone above that 9.7. You know, like, to quote that really good movie, that was the name of a band. That was just a movie. Well, I don't remember. But we're turning it to 11. I think the universe has turned it to 11, so to speak. And those of us who aren't as connected, or maybe have no connection, are being affected. You know, and it makes us mad. It doesn't feel good. We're confused, and because we're not connected, it's really hard to identify what's happening. You know, you never think, oh, it's me and everyone around me being in a mood, being in a bad mood, that then like butterfly effects into global disaster. And I know police officers kind of have gotten a really bad rap over the past many years for mistreating criminals or even non-criminals for no reason. Police brutality has really became a thing. But the way that George Floyd was killed is, I mean, that kind of takes the cake, right? I mean, that he wasn't even, it's not like he was accidentally shot. No, it was like direct, like skin on skin, like just murder, right? That's a whole new intensity of police brutality. But I have to wonder, was that police officer maybe really feeling the effects of these frequencies? And to go along with that, there's also talk that these frequencies are man-made. So who's in control? And is it just a social experiment to see, oh, if we, have 5 fluctuations today, is the evening news going to have any charity stories, or will it be all murder stories? Or if we have no fluctuations today, will the sun shine? You know, you have to wonder. There's a lot of theories about those frequencies, and I'm giving you a huge, kind of very broad overview of what I want to get into more detail with when I have Dwayne on, hopefully. I actually haven't talked to him yet about coming on the show, and if he's listening, sorry, I kind of told everybody that you'd be here without talking to you. Well, he's cool. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have a problem. So we got some people in the chat saying that they have... Oh, Dwayne is here. He is actually in the chat. Oh, well, hi. I've been talking about you. So we have some people in the chat who are saying that they've heard of these frequency fluctuations and they've studied them for years, and even questioning if there's a correlation between public awareness of the reality of the paranormal and the ability of paranormal entities to influence our reality. So almost like, I guess what is being kind of questioned in the chat room right now is, because we know of paranormal entities and their energies, it's been made public. We have these super popular TV shows. I don't know. I'm not listing them. I don't like them. I have thoughts. Keep them to myself. But they are out there, and I'm sure everybody has heard of at least one or two of them. But they have spread the word of paranormal and kind of shown like the cool side of investigating or not investigating. I mean, investigations are not that exciting, guys. They're really a lot more researchy than you want to believe they are. But so along with that, right, that being made now publicly aware, and then knowing the ability of paranormal entities to influence our reality, again, portrayed through these TV shows, does that not also get into everyone's heads? And now we see these events in the world as tragic and kind of unbelievable as they are, and we want to just say, there's no way this was like organically man-made. Like this is not just a fault of being human. There is something greater at work. There is this is because there's these frequencies in the atmosphere, and it has to do with all these ghosts. It's a ghost thing. Yeah. It's okay. It's just a spiritual mishap in the universe right now, and it'll sort itself out and we'll be good. Kind of like we want to use that as a scapegoat because we don't want to admit how much we really suck as a species. And it's hard to deny, though, just as somebody who is like so spiritually in tune, like I am, and who has been doing investigations and all the spooky weird crap for years now. Actually started in like 90, 98, 97 something. I think 98. But as hard as it is for someone like me to deny, it's also like kind of logical to say that, we're just getting carried away with ourselves and trying not to focus on there being a fix and just saying, things will sort themselves out, But I don't know. I just wanted to do a little test episode here, and that's what I had on my mind, and that's what came out. And again, the number is 443-267-8217. Drop a line. You can, I think I have voicemail set up. I do have voicemail set up. So you can leave a message there, and that line also takes text messages, so you can send a text message. Even for those of you who listen later, who aren't listening live, you can still get a hold of me that way. And in the chat room we have now, let's see, Bishop Arts and Sciences are saying, ghost hunting shows raise awareness. So people think more about the paranormal, because more people are thinking about the paranormal, feeding energy into the local paranormal environment. So basically, I took my own spin on the earlier comment, which, my bad. So you're saying because these shows now are so popular, and there's this hashtag paranormal awareness going on, that it actually causes more activity and causes maybe caused the frequency fluctuations. Maybe, again, okay, now that I say it out loud, maybe it does tie into what I said, where this is all our doing. We did this. This is a human-created catastrophe, right? Because we just got too curious and we had to go stick our noses around everywhere and go chasing ghosts and things, and now we, became celebrities over it, and uninformed people or people who are only watching for entertainment rather than to be informed now have this information, and what they do with it is actually really damaging to the world and causes an upset in energy fields and these things that were once really sacred to the practitioners and people before investigators, like the things that were really sacred, and only those who really had the tradition in their family and in their blood and whatnot for it were responsible for managing it, and they were the only ones who could even hold the knowledge in their brain, in their minds, right? But nowadays, it's like anyone you talk to is like, oh yeah, them ghost hunters on Sci-Fi or whatever channel they're on now. I know about them, whatever. And they go and do some stupid reenactment or whatever, of an episode because they think it's going to make a cute Halloween skit, or I don't know, for whatever reason, right? And it actually does something. It actually stirs the pot. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yes, Crail just reminded me, or informed me, seeing as I had completely forgotten the name of the movie that I was quoting, which is also the band famous for saying, let's turn it up to 11. That would be Spinal Tap. Yes, everybody, I would think, might be familiar with that movie. And that's what's happening. We're at 11. And it is slowly inching its way towards maybe like 11.4. It's been really great having so many come in to the chat room and let me know that they're here and listening for just a test episode. Really makes me optimistic for when I have an actual episode to discuss and can get things a little more streamlined. So the idea for the show going forward is to go back to the original interview format. I do have those 6 episodes on the Blog Talk Radio website for anyone interested. And I think anyone listening through a podcasting service, rather than tuning in live, you will see all of those episodes, all 6 episodes, between like 2016 and 2018. I don't think there's any from 2017. I really think it's like 2016 and then just like 1 or 2 in 2018. Or I have it backwards. I don't know. But you'll see them listed. And you can kind of get a feel for what to expect in future episodes. There's just the format, the flow. I don't usually just sit here and ramble for an hour. Usually I'll have a guest on and kind of split it up into segments, categories for the show and stuff. So once I get Google Voice configured and know exactly how to port that audio in to the live stream so that everyone actually hears what the other person is saying and doesn't just hear me talking to seemingly nobody, which I've been known to do, but for sake of the show and all, I'd much prefer to speak to another human and have their voice heard as well. So once I get that all configured, I'll be able to start doing regular episodes. I plan on doing Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, please, your feedback is like super important, and I will listen to what you say. If most of you come back and say like, yeah, no, that I'm not around, for one reason or another, like that's not a good time of day, or that's not a good day at all, I'll gladly throw out some other ideas, or if you have other ideas, let me know. And it's kind of like a majority wins thing. It's not really like, oh, hey, this is what I'm doing, and be there or miss out. No, it's more like, whatever the majority wants, I'll try to accommodate as best as I'm able to, as far as the live streams. So your feedback's really important. Make sure to give me that, communicate. You can message me either through Coffee with the Dead or Perry-Ann. Email me, just perry@CWTD.co. I have that Google Voice number, like I said, it's 410 No, I was reading you my number. Let me not do that over the air. The Google Voice number is 443-267-8217. And you just leave a voicemail. I'm really just answering it when I'm live, because assuming you have some related input to the show and whatnot. Otherwise, it'll be a voicemail. So that's perfect, and just leave a way for me to get back in touch with you. So that about, I think that sums up all the ways to get a hold of me. And I'm sorry about that reverb. I know you guys said that you thought it was okay. I'm going to try to clean it up. Maybe I just need a windscreen or something along those lines. So just some final comments in chat here. See, Crail, you're saying, you think the burden of being human has increased. With the internet so prevalent, we have access to see stuff happening that we just didn't know about before. More people are putting out emotional vibes that can influence others, and it's being done on a global scale, like one massive ritual that nobody is aware of. Right, exactly. That's right along the lines of what I was saying, that the more, and I think Bishop Arts and Sciences was kind of resonating on that same thought pattern, to that the more we know, the more damage we do. And now that we're aware of other energies besides our own and these other entities and stuff that lurk behind the veil, it's like just a gut reaction. It's impulsive what we do with that information, even if we don't really like recognize it on a conscious level, right? Since when? I mean, now it's been quite a while, but when we were when we were children growing up, some of you, some of us maybe, at least me, I'm getting near that old person threshold, but those of us, who grew up anytime before the 2000s, really, right? I don't really remember a lot of paranormal popularity, so to speak, besides like Ghostbusters and fantasy, it's just kind of a part of life now, and we all just accept that, yeah, sometimes stuff gets haunted. And and magically the reverb is gone. Thank you, Sergeant Poodle fans. And like Lady Lissa was saying earlier, that is very ironic that it started when I began talking about the frequencies. And now it seems, after a few minutes of switching gears away from the frequencies, my audio has returned to normal. Well, that's an interesting thought. Could definitely come up with a nice little conspiracy article on that. If anyone feels like going down that rabbit hole, feel free and send me what you write. So Dwayne is now saying reality TV brought it to the forefront. Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been saying with like ghost hunters and celebritizing the paranormal. Essentially, it kind of just made it okay, and it made it more widely accepted. Whereas before, it was something that we just shut our minds off to, and it just didn't exist. You know, except for, you know, the niche group who believed, right? And we were considered, you know, the nut jobs, or we were considered to be woo, you know. Now it's just so common to talk about. And even people who don't know what they're saying, they just have an opinion on it because it's now just a popular opinion. Right? It's okay to admit now. I don't know. Yeah, so Bishop Arts and Sciences has noticed that I have some furries behind me. Not those kinds of furries, for those of you on the podcast who can't see what I'm talking about. Not those kind. No, I have my two rats behind me, Pearl and Cherry. Cherry's albino and Pearl is a blue Dumbo. And they're both about a year old. Pearl is a little younger. I rescued her, or adopted her rather, excuse me, and then Cherry was adopted. Getting them backwards. Anyway, but Pearl was adopted. Cherry was rescued. I actually found her on a local beach here in the next town over in Havre de Grace, hiding behind a little log. Luckily it was low tide, else I don't even want to think about it, but I wouldn't have found her for sure. So there they are, and I can hear them. They're so loud right now because they're nocturnal. I don't know if it's picking up on the microphone. It'd be really cute if it was. Maybe that's the reason for my reverb. Let's see. We're closing out here. Got about 6 minutes left. So if you want to give me a call, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm just wrapping up here with some final chat room comments. 𝕍𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚, you say, you remember hearing about psychic call-in lines in the early 80s and still remember Miss Cleo. You know, I liked her. I know, like, her and Sylvia Browne got called out for being frauds and everything, but man, she had a presence, right? Can you imagine calling her up and she'd be like, yeah, I got you. Let me tell you what's real. That's kind of the vibe I got from Miss Cleo. She was okay. She was okay. She didn't have like the bug-eyed dead stare, you know, that kind of like, hey, I may or may not be in a cult and may or may not be trying to get you to join kind of look. She was just like, hey, what's up? Let's chit chat and you give me some money. She was okay, but you're right. Like that was it. That was all we heard about. We heard about like the stuff that now we think is like cheesy and we don't really accept. Now it's gotten a bad rap. Yeah, you're right. In the 80s and 90s, that stuff it was sketchy. And I guess it still would be. But they've, for the most part, done away with those psychic call-in lines, haven't they? I know there's like some through websites, right? I've seen that where you can call in, but I don't see commercials for them. They're not They're not your Friday night bachelor phone date anymore. That's a different kind of call-in line, isn't it? That came out really wrong. So anyway, Dwayne in chat says, movies were made, but most of them made you scared to touch that kind of thing. TV shows glamorized it. Yeah, like Alien, right? I never thought of that as like as paranormal, and I guess it really isn't, but just as far as like this thing that, as far as we know, isn't real, suddenly is on screen in front of us. Same thing with Ghostbusters. Now that, you know, obviously you can put that into the paranormal category. We didn't see that side of it. We didn't see the teamwork. You know, we didn't see like investigation groups. We didn't even know people did investigations until it came out in the movies. And then all of a sudden, little kids, myself definitely included, took a fascination to it. And we grew up to be those celebrity paranormal people, you know, in reality TV show. And the world changed, right? We got a hold of this information and we corrupted it, and I guess it's just been a big butterfly effect. So Bishop Arts and Sciences says, in the 70s we had a show called In Search Of. Oh, I remember, I saw some reruns of In Search Of, yes, by Leonard Nimoy. And then Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. Now that one I'm not familiar with, but yeah, they both address the paranormal. I definitely have seen In Search Of. That was an eye opener, and it took a different approach than we take now, right? It was like I'm speaking of In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy, who, yes, indeed, was Spock. There is Spock. He will forever be Spock. There is no was. He is. It took a different approach. It was more, by modern day definition, dry. But, oh my God, I'm sorry. Excuse me 1 second. My rats are like, oh my God, they're so cute right now. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to pay attention to them when I'm broadcasting, but like, oh my God, right now. Sorry. But In Search Of was, like I was saying, in today's terms, a little more dry. But it posed things in a way that didn't make us want to exploit them, right? It let us respect the information that was being presented, and enough to maybe go and read up about it on our own, but with boundaries. Unlike today's shows where it's just like, no boundaries now. Oh, is this, are you having a ghost experience? Oh, okay, here, let us come into your house, pay us all the money, and, okay, we're done now, and there's no more ghosts. Call us if you have any other problems. And of course they get called back, because of course they didn't really do anything, because of course they're just there for the money. Is what it is, right? Well, Bishop Arts and Sciences says, we can hear the rats. It's not distracting, however, so that is unfortunate. The rats should be distracting, because they distract me. All kidding. So, that's it. We are, well, I am at my hour. So we are off. I am off, whatever. And I hope to have my act together enough to come back Sunday night, this coming Sunday, June, whatever the crap, June, yeah, this is how much thought I put into this episode. I don't even know the date. June 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I do plan to come back on, even if it is just in this kind of rough format. Just getting myself back into the routine, getting my followers back into the routine. You know, so the show will change here and there. I have a green screen coming too, so there'll be a nifty little background behind me. Y'all won't see my mess of an office anymore soon. And if I'm lucky, I'll be able to arrange an interview by Sunday. So I can actually kind of do like a test up, maybe like a half test. mostly good episode with the test throwing in the interview there. So maybe I'll be able to find me a little test subject to experiment with the interview segment. Okay. So good night, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in once again. Like I have said at least twice, right? You can get a hold of me on Facebook, 𝕬𝕤𝕤𝕚, or Coffee with the Dead. You can get a hold of me Messenger or just friend me or give the page a follow. And of course you can subscribe through Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, all the popular podcasting networks will host the show. And we're also on Alexa. Yeah. Amazon Alexa, I think. Yes, those of you who have Alexa know what I'm trying to say. I don't have Alexa. I don't remember the name of her service, but her voice service. So if you say like, "Hey Alexa, play Coffee with the Dead," hopefully your Alexa device turned on right now when I said that and is now getting double play. I will try to keep the chat open for a little bit for those of you who are still in the chat. If it closes when I end the episode and you want to continue chatting, I am starting a room on Facebook. There's a new little thing I can do with the messenger thing and start a group room chat thing. So that'll be in the group of Coffee with the Dead, not on the main page. So if you are in the group, there will be a follow-up thing. Alright guys, that's all I got. Thanks so much for listening and bearing with me through all of the testing. Hopefully talk to y'all next week, and until then, remember, the veil is thin.